Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin broke above the 8-year-old resistance line, going right backwards from a 2017 all-time high. It's cyclically relevant. It marked the 2021 tops. It marked the top back here in late last year on two separate occasions. It also marked two recent local rejections. Fortunately, we were able to hold on to the bull market support band and get back above it, which means that Bitcoin is now in another macro move to the upside. We are in a macro breakout as we speak right now. We're in a macro breakout heading towards our all-time highs at $124,000 quite rapidly. And it begs the question, how high will Bitcoin go? Well, I'll answer that question in this video, or at least I'll answer where the next targets are for Bitcoin. I actually asked the question on my poll, my YouTube community page, where will Bitcoin top out in this bull run? Only 13% of you think that Bitcoin's already top. So most people, the vast majority of my audience, believes that Bitcoin will reach all-time highs, will go higher than 124,000. I think that's a very, very fair belief. I think it will do so as well. But the big question becomes, of course, where will it top? Will it top between 125 and 140, or will it top above 140? And I'm not pulling those levels out of thin air. Those levels are actually relevant for many reasons as identified on the charts. We have multiple very big, very important macro charts, which many people have not looked at or seen before, that identify the rough $130,000 region as major macro resistance. And we need to know how to approach that level. But it's not as simple as that. That level, of course, could break. A chart like the 2-week chart RSI is in a consolidation within triangle formation. And if we break that triangle formation to the upside, we could see a very significant momentum shift that could even extend the bull market. These are all theories, but you need to know what to watch. You need to know what's important so you can react effectively. And what I'll be doing in this video is presenting all of the information and then giving what I think is the best way to react. This won't be isolated to Bitcoin. I'll also look into the altcoin market. Before we dive headfirst into it, I want to take 30 seconds to discuss the Bitunix Exchange. Of course, everyone needs an exchange when they're approaching the crypto market because you need a place to buy and sell cryptocurrency. And most exchanges, unfortunately, are straight up not reputable, scams, some of them. Not all of them are scams, but a lot of them are not reputable. They don't have good track records. They're not good deals on fees. Bitunix circumnavigates all of these problems in my view. It's global. It has no restrictions based on location. You don't need to use a VPN to use this exchange. There's no dodgy business in regards to regulation. On top of that, it's never been hacked before, not a single security breach in 4.5 years of being on the market, and it's got everything you would expect from a major cryptocurrency exchange. So use my link down below to sign up if you're interested. That link will get you an exclusive 15% lifetime discount on fees. So that link is going to be very useful if you're interested in Bitunix. Use that link to sign up. Helps out the channel as well, which I appreciate, but of course it helps out yourself by getting a discount on fees. So links down below. Let's get into the content. Starting out with a quick recap, again, Bitcoin broke above that critical pink line going right backwards to 2017, and that pink line has become our short-term support zone. Our macro support zone, in my view, still sits at the bull market support band. We know the bull market support band is an important level. We're not just guessing. We're not just saying it's important because it's a critical indicator. No, it actually is a cyclically relevant indicator. We generally do retest the bull market support band in September before bouncing to all-time highs. This happened not only in this cycle, but it happened, of course, in 2021 as well. There's the September retest on a neckline of support to all-time highs. And again, it happened in 2017. I mean, this is something we've covered relentlessly. I probably sound like an absolute broken record. Hopefully we don't need to cover it too much more times. But the fact of the matter is the bull market support band has pretty much been established as the critical support zone that upholds the move. So if we lose that level on a weekly close, especially, Bitcoin's in danger. But until we do so, Bitcoin is in a confirmed upwards move. And so what are the upside targets now? Well, there isn't really much room between here and the local all-time high. So of course, the local all-time high is probably the next upside target that Bitcoin will attack. But above that, we are in price discovery. Above that, we have not actually seen any Bitcoin price action. And this is where we get into the basis for what I've been discussing for literally 13 months on this YouTube channel. I've been talking about $130,000 for 13 months on this YouTube channel. No joke. You can go back to my videos from September 2024 and you'll hear me talking about it. I don't just pull it out of thin air. 130,000, that rough price region between 130 to 135K. is important for two reasons. Well, one of the reasons is this. Look at this chart here. This is one example of a chart that identifies 130,000 as a critical level. It's an angle-based macro resistance chart. It's actually called a logarithmic regression channel chart. And essentially the channel we have here is decreasing in ascension, angle of ascension, by 50% each cycle. The angle of ascension between tops and bottoms is halving each cycle. It goes from 40 degrees to 20 degrees to 10 degrees to 5 degrees, right? On the upside and the downside. With the 5-degree angle of ascension, around October, which is when the 4-year cycle suggests the all-time high could be placed. The 4-year cycle, of course, suggests that the top will be in around October. Now that could break, and that's a whole different story, but let's just act like it will maintain at least for now. If we look at the vertical date range of late October and we assess where this angle of ascension will bring resistance to at that point in time, it will be at about $132,000 to $134,000. You can see it right there very clearly on the screen. Now, this chart wouldn't be overly convincing by itself, but the fact is it's cross-validated by two other charts. One of the charts it's cross-validated by is a very important logarithmic regression channel, just like in the same way that this is the logarithmic regression channel. But this is actually the power law chart on Bitcoin, which has been very influential in predicting Bitcoin tops and bottoms historically. It kind of faltered in 2021, and so people stopped looking at it, but I kept looking at it. And what we see is that, well, on the last 3 major macro highs, we've rejected from this region, right? The last 3 rejections and corrections Bitcoin has seen, first one stemming backwards to March last year, have come from the green line on the power law chart. And that green line on the power law chart also lurks in that $130,000 region. On top of this, we already discussed this critical pink line, which goes back to 2017. But we haven't discussed the yellow line, which goes back to 2017 as well. The pink line touches both the tops in 2021. The yellow line only touches the first top in 2021. And the yellow line is equally as valid as the pink line, has equally the same amount of retests, and sits again in that high 120s to low $130,000 region, depending on when we touch it. So right now it's at 126, right? Right now, that resistance zone again, 126,000. In late October, it will be at about 127,000. Going through again, this is at about 130,000 right now. In late October, will be about 134, and the power law chart is at about 131. In late October, will be about 135, right? So you can see how all these macro resistance levels conglomerate in this one region between about 127-ish and 135-ish around October. Now, of course, we don't have to see the top in October. And if we don't see the top in October, awesome. These levels still are major resistance zones. The price just changes, but the level itself remains the same. So my point is not that we've got this major resistance at 130, but rather we've got these major charts showing resistance in one specific region that is actively moving upwards. And if we test it in October, it will probably be about 130,000, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, right? 127 to 135, somewhere in that region. It doesn't really matter exactly where it is due to how big these levels are, but the vague region is the resistance. And for that reason, given the fact that all these major levels, which by the way, none of them have ever been broken, right, have resistance in that region, it would be ridiculous for me to come out and say that Bitcoin is certainly going higher. I don't think it's certain. I think these resistance zones are nothing to be joked around with. They are very formidable, and we could actually see the top from those resistance zones. So what we have is a situation in which Bitcoin might not have that much upside room left to run, but the altcoin market probably does, right? Ethereum, of course, has been dominating the market since April, I should say. And it's continuing to do so. And of course, now we're seeing a bit of a focus on Bitcoin in the last few days, but no doubt that money will roll into Ethereum and maybe even altcoins. Ethereum has bigger catalysts. Ethereum, for example, has the 2021 all-time high, which it can break. That will bring a massive amount of attention to it. The total cryptocurrency market cap for altcoins, again, 2021 all-time high, which it can break as well. And Bitcoin dominance is hovering on major support. If we drop that support, just like we've done in prior cycles, we could see Bitcoin dominance drop very, very sharply. So I think actually, and I've thought this for many, many months now, it's really Ethereum that you should be focusing mainly on, and maybe even altcoins a bit later. I don't think altcoins are really the priority right now because they haven't actually shown performance yet. They haven't actually broken down, for example, from the Bitcoin dominance chart resist support. We haven't actually broken the 2021 all-time high on the altcoin market. It's been performing relatively similar to Bitcoin in percentage returns. Ethereum, though, has clearly been outperforming. Since April, Ethereum's up 260%, right? Bitcoin's up 70% since April. So that just shows you that really Ethereum should be your priority, and maybe altcoins in the near future. But right now, it's actually not Bitcoin that is the priority for investment, in my view. It's Ethereum and potentially looking out for altcoins picking up. Bitcoin is approaching rapidly, to conclude this video, its major resistance conglomerate, which currently sits in the high $120,000 region to the low $130,000 region. If the 4-year cycle has anything to say about it, that will likely be the top. That's what the 4-year cycle says, right? And I have a stance in the 4-year cycle, which is the trend is your friend until it ends. And so I will be believing that until it's broken. If it breaks, we can adjust. There is some evidence to say that we could deviate, we could break the cycle, we could continue even higher into 2026. Some of that evidence comes from the 2-week chart on Bitcoin. There's always arguments of certain beliefs, right? We look at the 2-week chart RSI on Bitcoin, we see this critical sloping downwards resistance line, which has marked major macro tops on many, many occasions for Bitcoin. And we see that we're nowhere near that level that has always marked tops. We're nowhere near it. We're actually still consolidating a triangle formation. We still could, according to this chart, see another macro leg to the upside on Bitcoin. And that macro leg would likely give Bitcoin the momentum to break the $130,000 region and continue even higher, right? In that case, if we break this on the power law, if we break this on the logarithmic regression chart, we break this on the 2-week chart, we've got a massive amount of steam to move really, really, really high. But until that happens, we shouldn't be jumping the gun. That's my take. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to discuss the Ethereum and altcoin market a bit more extensively. I kind of brushed over it today because it wasn't the main topic. The main topic is where is the resistance and what do we do in reaction to it? And I think I've covered that topic quite well. If you think so as well, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe. I'd also really appreciate if you check out the Bitunix Exchange. You won't regret it. This is not a favor to me. It's actually a favor to yourself in a lot of ways. It's a global exchange. It's got no restrictions, non-KYC, never been hacked before. All of these things are very, very important and very rare on exchanges in 2025. So if you're interested, use my link down below to sign up and get a 15% lifetime trading fee discount with that link. I appreciate that if you do that. It helps out the channel and it helps out you by getting a discount on a great exchange. So do that if you're interested. Thank you guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.